When it comes to our lives and how we live our lives, we are either going to live in the 4 feet or we're going to swim in the 10 feet. And this all really boils down to what's safe and what's uncomfortable. Let's talk about it. What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Zev, your everyday life coach, and I provide you with practical tools for daily living so that you can transform tomorrow today. I'm excited to bring to you a very exciting video where I want to talk to you and challenge you really quickly to think about where you want to live or where you want to swim. And it's really a concept that came to me as I was thinking about actually several months ago. This is a very old video topic, and I'm just now doing the recording. I have it in my journal here. I wrote it months ago, and this is a really good time to record it because so many people make decisions in this vacuum of fear. And I really got this analogy of 4 feet water and 10 feet water, and how that applies to how we make decisions in our lives and how we choose to live. And so let's jump right into the context or the content. So when we look at if we consider, let's say for an example, an adult who is in a pool. An adult that's in a pool, if they are standing in the four feet water or 4 foot water, of course they're taller than 5 feet or something like that. 4 foot water would represent something that is safe for them. Why? Because obviously they can stand in the water. The water is not going to come above their neck. Or above their head, and they can see, they can move, they have control. It's not something that is overwhelming to them, and it's something that they can walk in, they can thrive in, they can live in. So in that context, then 4 foot water and standing in 4 foot water would be safe. But take that same adult and put them in 10 foot water, and suddenly the water is above your head, and you are now in a space where you're in water, but you're in an uncomfortable place. And to be frankly honest with you, when we think about life in general, life and how we choose to live our lives really boils down to if we want to live in the 4 feet or if we want to swim in the 10 feet. There are decisions you can make in your life that when you make those decisions will be comfortable decisions that will put you in the water, proverbially, but it's safe. And people make safe decisions all the time because there's nothing risky about a safe decision, right? There's nothing risky about a decision that you make, and you know that the decision you made is going to work, right? If you know something is going to work and you make the decision, you have not accomplished something that is life-shattering. You've made a safe decision. And one of the drawbacks to making a safe decision, and this is something I never want you to forget, nothing grows in a space that's safe. Absolutely nothing grows in your life in a space that's safe. There is an element of risk. There is an element of discomfort that is necessary for growth in our lives and to receive extraordinary results in our lives when it comes to the things that we desire for our lives. And so when we think about this 4 foot space, we're really thinking about a safe space, right? Where nothing can really go wrong. It's going to be difficult for a 5'7" person to drown in 4 feet water, right? Like a lot has to go wrong for that person to drown in that water. Why? Because it's safe. And but again, the 10 foot, take that person and just let them walk down the pool and get to the 10. Then all of a sudden they're submerged underwater, and they have to learn how to swim, either swim, or they have to learn how to float in the water in order to survive. And This is interesting to me because, what this reminds me of is something that really is the whole point of this video. And that is, in your life, you've got two choices. You can either be comfortable and safe, or you can be uncomfortable and free. Remember, in life, I don't care if this is concerning your career, if this is concerning your choices to start, your business or to move around an industry, if this is concerning relationship choices, friendship choices, this is concerning any decision in your life, you're either going to be comfortable and safe, and that's okay, or you're going to be uncomfortable for a season at least, but you're going to be free. See, the beautiful thing about 10-foot water, even if you can't swim, it's not even necessary to be able to swim to survive in 10 feet water. The worst thing you can do, I've got friends that are lifeguards, and you ask a lifeguard and they will tell you, the worst thing a person can do in 10-foot water, especially if they can't swim, the worst thing they can do is panic. You get in that water and you panic, and then all of a sudden, what is a 10-foot experience will feel like a 20-foot experience in your mind, right? In your head, right? And if it feels like a 20-foot experience in your head, then it's going to become a 20-foot experience in your reality. And so what happens for us in life is oftentimes we make decisions and we find ourselves faced with a decision that we could make where the safe decision puts us in the 4-foot water and we don't have to worry about drowning and we're good, or the risky decision puts us in 10-foot water and we may have to figure out either how to swim or float, but the idea of drowning makes the decision hard, or the idea that the water is going to be overwhelming makes the decision hard. And thus, we allow things like fear and panic and worry and anxiety and concern and what if to challenge the decisions we make. But I want to ask you a very serious question. Are you going to allow yourself to miss out on amazing experiences just because you're in water that makes you uncomfortable? You're going to allow yourself to miss out on that dream career that's going to force you to learn an industry that you have no experience in, that might make you uncomfortable for a season and may force you to learn how to float until you figure out how to swim? Are you going to give up the dream relationship for the safe relationship? Right? We do a lot of talking in our videos about settling and taking less than what you deserve, because I believe this and I live by this. And I think I said this either in a recent TikTok or a recent video. I'm just in a space of my life where I just simply refuse to settle for anything less than what I want or deserve. And I also realize that with that decision, you sometimes end up in 10 feet water and you got to figure out how to float. Water gets a little high and sometimes it feels a little uncomfortable. But the beautiful thing is you can survive in 10 feet water without knowing how to swim. It's more important that you know how to float than swim. And the crazy thing about ask a swimmer, I'm a swimmer, I know how to swim pretty well. Ask a swimmer and they'll tell you, if you can float, you can also swim. Floating is really the foundation that teaches you how to swim. And people jump in 10 feet water and think, oh, let me figure out how to swim first and then I'll float if I need to. No, the opposite is true. Figure out how to float first. And then if you figure out how to float, you'll be able to learn how to swim. And then when you get tired from swimming, you can always float. That's how life works. Make the hard decision. If you want to live a meaningful life, if you want to live a life that's filled with excitement, if you want to live a life that's filled with incredible decisions or experiences, incredible things, incredible joys, incredible happiness, make the decision to venture out in the 10 feet water. Is there a risk? Of course it is. You could always drown. You could get tired and drown in the water. That's possible. But the reality is, your job in the 10 feet water is not to learn how to swim. Your job initially is to learn how to float. And if you can float, you're going to figure out how to swim and you're going to survive. And you will find out that the experience in the 10 feet water is so much better than the one in the 4 feet, right? It's deeper, the views are better, the experience is better. Floating on a raft is much more fun in the 10 feet than it is in the 4 feet, right? You fall up the raft in the 4 feet, your foot hits the ground and there's no big deal, right? When you're floating in 10 foot and above water and you're out there floating and that raft is holding you up, the experience is different, the waves are higher, right? The water hits you differently the deeper you go, and that's how incredible decisions work. And so I want to just challenge you. I want to challenge you not to allow panic to get in the way of you having amazing experiences in your life. Don't let panic and fear and what ifs cause you to avoid amazing experiences in your life, and don't live in safety and comfort. Figure out a way to swim and float in spaces that are uncomfortable, because that's where amazing experiences are. I'll end with this. I was doing a talk a couple of days ago. One of the things that I told the audience was, there's never been a season of my life, a period of my life, where I have decided to float in the 10-foot water and not reaped amazing benefits. Most of the experiences in my life that were exhilarating experiences came with an exhilarating or a high amount of risk. Last year, about a year and 3 months ago a year and 3 months ago, this month, I went skydiving for the first time, and I think I've got that video on my YouTube page. I'll drop the link in the description if you want to check it out. It's a great experience, one of the best things I've ever done. And I was sharing in my talk a couple of days ago that experience was awesome, but it also came with a lot of risk, right? They had to check that parachute several times on the ground, and then when you're in the plane, the guy is checking the parachute again, and he's checking it again and again, right? And the idea, when you get to the edge and he's ready to push you out, he does the count, and then you all just jump off. The thought does float in your mind. What if this is the last jump I ever make, right? That thought does cross your mind, because we were 15,000 feet in the air. That's normal. But the reality is, I would never be able to talk about the exhilaration of a skydive if I was not willing to take a 15,000 square foot risk or 15,000 mile risk. And that's how life works. If you want to have incredible decisions or incredible experiences, incredible joys, incredible feats of happiness in your life, if you want to experience happiness on a high level, a great level, you got to be willing to swim in the 10 feet water. And if you're saying, Dr. Zeb, I can't swim, then get over there and learn how to float. Yeah, you're going to have to figure some things out. You're going to go after a new job or move to a new city. You're going to figure out, the lay of the land, and you're going to be unfamiliar in some spaces, and there's going to be a season where you're uncomfortable. But the rewards far outweigh the risk. The benefits far outweigh the risk. I want to challenge you to not handicap your life because you're not willing to take a 10-foot risk. Take the risk. Take the risk. Figure out how to float in those relationships that you really desire, that maybe kick against the grain a little, right? But they're with great people who check every box that you've got on your list, every single box you have on your list. But it's going to come with a little bit of challenge. Take the risk. Figure out how to float. Don't let fear and panic keep you on the sideline. Yeah, I know you're apprehensive about moving to that big city. You've grown up in a small town, but in the big city is the opportunity that you've been looking for, in the career that you've been looking for, in the industry that you've been looking for, and you don't have any family there, and all your family is where you are now. Don't be afraid to go take the risk, because that's where greater levels of joy and excitement and fulfillment are. It's being willing to float over into the 10-foot water and be uncomfortable for a season so you can be free for a lifetime. Listen, I hope this message made sense to you. I want you to remember you've got 2 jobs today. 1, I need you to be better today than what you were yesterday. And 2, Don't forget what I told you. Now go ahead.